Hello, children. Welcome to Diksha Online Classes, Lecture 3 Chemistry of Organic Compounds. Today, we are continuing the lecture. What we have done in Lecture 1, we have discussed about the chemistry of carbon compounds, carbon, its allotropic forms, and its reasons behind existing in a large number of compounds. We have explained in the Lecture 1, and we also classified the different family of carbon compounds into aliphatic, alicyclic, homocyclic, heterocyclic. And then in lecture 2, we have discussed the rules for giving the IUPAC name of certain organic compounds along with the common names which are commonly named as trivial names for the compounds, and how to name the IUPAC name for the compound as per the rules. Here we are continuing the rules, IUPAC rules. We are going to have a small recap of what we have done in the lecture 2, and followed by we are going to have some more details in this lecture. In the previous lecture, we have seen if you have an alkane, general formula of alkanes are CnH2n plus 2, and the straight chain alkanes are given with this particular terminology, having one carbon named as methane, having two carbons named as ethane, having three carbons named as propane, having four carbons named as butane, having 5 carbons named as pentane, 6 carbons hexane, and 7 heptane, octane, nonane, decane, and with 20 C20H42, icosane, C30H62, triocontane, triecontane. So this is what we have, the different terminologies which we have for the IUPAC names of alkanes. All this comes under the category of alkanes, where alkanes general formula CnH2n plus 2. Now moving forward, this particular alkanes general formula is CnH2n plus 2. Alkenes general formula CnH2n. Alkynes general formula CnH2n minus 2. The terminology changes in the last three letters: en, in, ein. En, in, and ein. This ein indicates a triple bond C presence. En indicates double bond presence. En indicates all carbons having single bond. Already we have discussed in the last lecture. Moving forward, branched chain hydrocarbons. Naming the branched chain hydrocarbons. What is the first thing we have to learn about this is how to identify the substituents attached. We call the substituents. In a branched chain compounds, small chains of carbon atoms are attached at one or more carbon atoms of a parent chain. What is a parent chain? The carbon which is given numbering. After the numbering is completed, the numbered carbon chain is called as parent chain. And the numbered carbon chain can be pentane, hexane, heptane, octane, nonane. So this is the numbered carbon chain I can say. Within this numbered carbon chain, if there is a small carbon chain which is attached as a substituent, as a branch to the main chain, that small carbon chains or branches are called alkyl groups. So we are terminology we are giving here, they are termed as alkyl groups. Now, what are the different classes of alkyl groups? If you see, there are some class of alkyl groups we can give in this way. If you have a methane, it is having all the hydrogens intact. But if you remove one hydrogen from this, methane minus hydrogen results in the formation of CH3, and that is known as methyl. So in the name of alkane, ANE, replace the word ANA by YL. This is going to be the small change we are going to do. If you write ANE, that means all hydrogens are intact in the molecule. But if you are using the word YL, that means there is a deficiency of one hydrogen. So if you take C2H6 is ethane. But if you subtract a hydrogen from this, then you will get C2H5, which is called as ethyl. C3H6, C3H8 is propane. If you subtract hydrogen from this, we get C3H7, which is called as propyl. C4H10 is called as butane, which you subtract hydrogen from this, and we get C4H9, which is called as butyl. Same way C10H22, decane, subtract a hydrogen from this, C10H21 will get, and that is named as decyl. So the conclusion, if you have CnH2n plus 2 formula of hydrocarbon, it is termed as alkane. All hydrogens are present in the molecule. But if you remove one hydrogen, if there is one hydrogen less in the formula of the compound or the carbon chain, then that term is named as alkyl group. So here we have some common repeated alkyl groups which we get in the examinations: methyl, ethyl, propyl, butyl, decyl. So some other alkyl groups. What are the some other alkyl groups? If you consider this particular example, I have a carbon chain represented here. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Total 8 carbons I have represented on the screen. Of these 8 carbons, you can say I can only move in one direction. With the longest carbon chain, I can go. If I take in this direction, I can move in this direction. 1, 2, 3. This is 1. Second, I can go in this way. Moving forward, 1, 2, 3, 4. I can go this way. Again, starting from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is one direction. Or this or the above one is same. So either this direction or this direction is same. So the same thing. So we have here, if you get 3 carbons, if I move in this direction, I'll get 4 carbons. If I move in this direction, I'll get 5 carbons. So which is my longest carbon chain? This is not the possibility. This is not the possibility. This is the longest chain. So this will be my longest chain. So I'll be taking the longest chain as my parent chain. First will be longest chain. The longest chain will be the parent chain. Longest chain will be parent chain. So the fixing of parent chain is very important to me. Now in this longest carbon chain, or this is the parent chain I have selected. In this parent chain, I can have the carbons, different types of carbons in this carbon chain. Let us understand. The last carbons, which are the terminal carbons, we call, these are called as terminal carbons. These terminal carbons can only attach to a maximum of one carbon. They will be attached to one carbon in the chain. They can be attached maximum to one carbon in the chain. So always a terminal carbon is named as a primary carbon. So this carbon is named as primary carbon. Primary carbon. Even this is named as primary carbon. So now in this example, if you have seen, you have primary carbons are the terminal carbons in the carbon chain. The terminal carbons are called as primary carbons. Why we call them primary? Because they are attached only to a maximum of one carbon in the chain or no carbon in the chain. Either no carbon attachment also primary, or one carbon attachment in the chain is also primary. Let us come to the second one. If I take this carbon atom, which is rounded off, this carbon is attached to this carbon, attached to the other carbon on two sides. So only this is in attachment with two other carbon atoms in the chain. Two other carbon atoms attached to two other carbon atoms in the chain. If this way a carbon atom is in attachment with two other carbon atoms in the chain, then this type of carbon is called secondary carbon. This is called secondary carbon. So what is primary carbon? Primary carbon is the carbon which can have a maximum attachment of one carbon in the chain. What is secondary carbon? Secondary carbon is the carbon which is having two carbon atoms in attachment in the chain. So the number is 2 degree carbon. 2 degree indicates it is in attachment with two other carbon atoms in a carbon chain. What is 1 degree carbon chain? 1 degree is primary. 1 degree carbon chain is in the attachment of only one carbon in the carbon chain. You can see this carbon is in attachment with only one carbon in the carbon chain. Now if you see in this particular one, if I have taken this carbon atom into consideration, what about this carbon atom if you take into consideration? This carbon is attached to this carbon in one direction, attached here two directions, attached here three directions. So there are three carbons attached to the carbon. So here if I talk about this carbon atom, it is attached to three carbon atoms, in the chain. Now tell me, if one carbon is attached in the chain, primary. Two carbons are attached in the chain, secondary. Then if three carbons are attached in the chain, tertiary. So this carbon is called tertiary carbon. It is called tertiary carbon indicated with 3 degree carbon. Tertiary carbon indicated with 3 degree carbon. Same way, if I go with this carbon, now tell me this is attached to how many carbons? 1, 2, 3, 4. So this carbon is attached to 4 carbon atoms. In the chain. 4 carbon atoms in the chain. So it is called as quaternary carbon. Which is also called as neocarbon, which is also called as 4 degree carbon. So quaternary carbon, neocarbon, 4 degree carbon. So we have the terminologies that are going to be used here. Let us recap what we have learned again. If in a carbon chain, if you have a carbon which is a terminal carbon, terminal carbons can be this, terminal carbon can be this, terminal carbon can be this, this, because after this is there any carbon to proceed? No. So any terminal carbon you take, you can see only one attachment of its 4 valencies will be with carbon. So carbon generally will have 4 valencies. Of these 4 valencies, 3 valencies will be filled with hydrogen, only one valency will be filled with carbon. In such carbon arrangements, we call that type of carbon is called primary carbon. But if you have of 4 valencies, 2 of the valencies are filled with the hydrogen and 2 of the valencies are filled with the carbon. In such case, this carbon is called secondary carbon. And if you have of 4 valencies, only one valence is filled with the carbon, remaining 3 valencies are filled with carbon, then the type of carbon is called tertiary carbon. If you have a carbon, all the 4 valencies are filled with the carbon chain, all the 4 valencies, then that type of carbon is called quaternary carbon or neocarbon. So these are the terminologies which we have to be aware, and that makes our lives very easy when we are understanding the types of alkyl groups. So when you say the alkyl groups will be classified basing on the nature of carbon. Now the alkyl groups are classified in this way: secondary butyl, N-butyl, tertiary butyl, secondary butyl, N-butyl, tertiary butyl. What is secondary butyl? If you take a carbon chain, this is your carbon chain if you understand. In this carbon chain, this carbon is a secondary carbon. If you remove a hydrogen from alkane, alkane minus hydrogen is equals to alkyl. We know this particular concept till now. But if this alkane has the carbon, three types of, we have primary carbon, secondary carbon, tertiary carbon, or we don't have a quaternary carbon where hydrogen is possible, so only three possibilities are there. So in the alkane, from where you remove this hydrogen, corresponding to the position of hydrogen removal, the nature of carbon involving in the removal of hydrogen, that will be the nature of alkyl you will be produced. So if you are removing hydrogen from a primary carbon, then it results in the form N. N stands for normal. N alkyl groups. N alkyl, N ethyl, N butyl, N propyl, N pentyl, N hexyl. But if you are removing a hydrogen from secondary carbon, it is secondary alkyl. So secondary alkyl group, we call this is secondary alkyl. And if it is from 4 carbon chain butyl, so secondary butyl. If you are removing hydrogen from tertiary carbon, then it is called as tertiary alkyl or tertiary butyl. Already in the last lecture, I have explained you the terminology of usage of iso. How do we use iso? When you have a white arrangement at the terminal of the carbon chain. Y type of arrangement. Two methyl groups attached to the terminal carbon, then we say it is iso. If it is only 3 carbons propyl, 4 carbons butyl, so having iso group over here. And if you have the neocarbon, that is neo with how many carbons totally present, that will be the alkyl name. If you have 5 carbons pentyl, 6 carbons hexyl, 7 carbons heptyl. So it depends on number of carbons. So this is how the alkyl groups have been classified. So to understand this nature of alkyl, we need to understand the nature of carbon. From what type of carbon the hydrogen is removed, that name the carbon will get. So this is our simple terminologies to understand. So I am repeating here in a simple way. If you are taking these type of carbon chains, this is the hydrogen attached to a primary carbon, indicating a straight chain carbon chain. We say the carbon chain is normal. So N stands for normal. N alkane. Here we have 4 carbons, so it is called N butane. If you take, this is also normal, but this hydrogen is attached to secondary carbon. In this case, this hydrogen atom is attached to a tertiary carbon. Now, if I am removing the hydrogen, if I remove a hydrogen, the group that will be formed will be C. This is the attachment. This total carbon is now as a branched chain, is loss of one hydrogen atom. We call it is N but, replacing ANE with YL, butyl. So this is going to be N-butyl group. Since the hydrogen is removed from primary carbon, it is called as N-butyl group. Now if you are removing hydrogen from a secondary carbon and still it is a butane, it is still a butane, but in N-butane, it is a normal butane, but in normal butane you are removing hydrogen from a secondary carbon. Now your substituent will be like this. This becomes your substituent. Now this is called as secondary SEC butyl, secondary butyl group. Same way, if you are removing a hydrogen from a tertiary carbon, this is taken as normal. You have the component, tertiary component. Hydrogen is removed from the tertiary carbon. Now your substituent appears in this way. Substituent appears in this way. This is your arrangement of substituent, which is ter-butyl, tertiary butyl. So when you are writing ter-butyl, you can write at 3-degree butyl, you can write 2-degree butyl, you can write secondary butyl, you can write, or simply butyl or N-butyl. These are the simple terminologies. When to use, how to use. A final conclusion: removing hydrogen from primary carbon leads to N-alkyl. Removing hydrogen from secondary carbon leads to secondary alkyl. Removing hydrogen from tertiary alkyl leads to tertiary alkyl. This is going to be your concept. Moving to So now I'm taking this particular rules for IUPAC nomenclature of branched chain alkanes. We know how to name the branches. Now if you have a branches, how to name the carbon chain with branches, we are going to see the rules. In the first one, the longest possible chain has to be selected from the molecule, which is termed as parent chain. We know how to select the parent chain. Previously I showed you, go for the longest numbering chain, where you can go with the maximum number of carbon atoms included in the chain, that is your parent chain. Now rule number 2, what is going to be that is, if a molecule has more than one substituent groups, then sum of the locant of carbon atoms, this is very important, sum of the locant of the carbon atoms having these groups should be minimum. What do you mean by locant positions? Sum of the positions of the carbon atoms having these groups should be minimum. So if you take an example in this particular one, I can start numbering from this side, I can start numbering from this side. Let us see, if I am taking a numbering from this side, you have 1, this is the second position, and 3, this is the third position, fourth position. So you have 2, this is going to be 4, and this is going to be 5. Moving from left to right, second position, fourth position, and fifth position, you have the carbon chains. And moving from right to left, if I am taking, this is 1, 2, 3, third position, 4, 5, 6. So here this is going to be 3, this is going to be 4, this is going to be 6. Now moving from left to right, your numbering is 2 plus 4 plus 5. Moving from right to left, your numbering will be 3 plus 4 plus 6. So when you're giving the numbering, check it out. Is this the lowest numbering or is this the lowest numbering? Here you're getting 2 plus 4, 6, 6 plus 5, 11. In this case, we get 7, 7 plus 6, 13. So the 11 is the smallest number which should be considered. The longest number should not be considered. So that means your numbering should not happen from right to left. It should happen only from left to right. So the numbering from left to right is correct. So the numbering will be taking in this place 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It is going to be the 7 carbon chain as the parent chain with this unnumbered carbon. This is unnumbered carbon. This is an unnumbered carbon. We call them as branches or substituents or alkyl groups. So we'll see how to name them in the upcoming slide. Moving to the rule number 4, where you are taking in this particular one, if a compound contains substituent groups of same type but more than one, substituent groups of same type but more than one, then additional prefix like di, tri, tetra are used. Meaning, that means if you have unnumbered carbons, like you have seen in the previous case, if I just make you to go to that particular side, you can see here you have 1, 2, 3, more than one substituents are present which are unnumbered carbons. Such type of example, if I am taking in this particular one, if you have more than one substituents of same type, then we are going to use the prefixes to indicate the repetition of that particular groups with the number indicating words like di, indicating 2 times repeated, tri, indicating 3 times repeated, tetra, indicating 4 times repeated the same substituent. Example, in this example, you can see the methyl group, and this is the methyl group, and this is the methyl group. In the previous example which we have seen, it is a 7 numbered carbon with the 3 substituents which are unnumbered. The substituents are methyl groups. Same groups are repeating more than once. How many times repeated? 3 times repeated. So if it is 3 times repeated, what is the word to use indicating 3 times repeated? Tri. So we are going to use the word tri before the name of this particular. So here the name comes here is, it is at the second position, this is at the fourth position, this is at the fifth position. So this is a methyl at second position, methyl at fourth position, methyl at fifth position. So it is going to be repeated 3 times. So trimethyl at 2, 4, 5, trimethyl and 7 carbon chain it is called heptane. So remember, number should be separated with a comma and a number and word should be separated with a hyphen. So 2 comma 4 comma 5 trimethyl heptane is the name of the compound. Same way, if you see in this, here is a methyl group, here is a methyl group, and this is going to be your ethyl group. This is an ethyl group, so 2 carbon atoms are there. So ethyl, this is methyl, this is going to be a methyl. So how many methyl groups are repeated? 2 times repeated. So if 2 times repeated, we are going to use the indicate the word with a dimethyl and ethyl. Now methyl starts with M, ethyl starts with E. So who should be given the first priority? That is going to be our next naming of the compound. So here I will show you the name, but I will give you the condition. Whenever you have two substituents of different names, alphabetical order has to be followed. Alphabetical order. Always follow alphabetical order. So E comes first, M comes next, and remember di, tri, tetra are not included in alphabetical order. They are not included in order. So only take the name of the substituent starts with M, E comes first, M comes next. So ethyl should be written first, methyl should be written next. This is the rule 4. Moving to rules for naming aliphatic compounds containing functional groups. What is the first rule? Select the longest chain. How do we select the longest chain? The parent carbon chain is selected in such a way the functional group is to be given the smallest position. So it should be selected to include the functional group even if it is not the actual longest chain. So if you have a carbon chain in this way, you have a functional group over here where your carbon chain continues here. Okay. If I am taking this particular one, this is one way. I can take in this, there are two options which are possible. Let us say this is the carbon chain. You have 4 carbons here attached to a functional group, and if you continue in this direction, 7 carbons you will get. If you continue further in this direction, you will get 7 carbons. If you continue only in this direction, you will get 4 carbons. So now if you consider the functional group, you will get 4 carbons. If you don't consider the functional group, you will get 7 carbons. But you should not select the 7 carbons. We should select only the 4 carbons. What is the condition? Includes the functional group. Your carbon chain should be selected which includes the functional group, and even though that carbon chain is not the longest chain, it should be considered as the carbon chain. That is the first point, rule number 1. Coming to rule number 2, if I am taking this particular one, naming the aliphatic compounds containing one functional groups. How do we name the aliphatic compounds? Already in the lecture 2, I have given you the functional groups. How do we use the terminology? Suffixes used for functional groups. Here we are going to use this way. Let us take the example in this particular one. The numbered carbon, if I am taking in this direction, the numbered carbon, you have 5 carbons which are present. But if I continue the carbon chain in this direction, you will get 7 carbons. But this 7 carbons, this is without functional group, whereas this is with functional group. With functional group. Now tell me, in these two possibilities, which should be considered as per rule number 1? Longest chain without functional group or the longest chain with functional group? With functional group. Without functional group should not be selected. So this is not taken into consideration. Now this is taken into consideration where you have the carbon chain already numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 carbons are there. Now the longest chain consisting of 6 carbon atoms or 7 carbon atoms. Here originally if you take, it is 7 carbons, not the 6. 7 carbon atoms does not contain the functional group, so it is rejected. It should not be considered. But if you consider where you are taking in this particular one, if I am taking this, the chain having 5 carbon atoms is selected as parent chain, which includes the functional group and common named as. Now this is considered as the functional group and this is named with the name. The second position you have ethyl group, so 2 ethyl, pent, 5 carbons in the chain, ane, all are single bonds in the chain, and the position of functional group ol. So the alcohol is named as OL. Whenever OL has come, you have this pent plus ol, pentanol. So ethyl pentanol is the name of the compound. So the name of the compound is given in this way. So this is how the naming of the compound takes place. Moving to numbering of the parent chain, the most important part of this particular one, the numbering of the parent chain is done such that carbon linking to functional group gets the lowest number. Carbon attached to the functional group should be given lowest numbering. So if there are more than one possibility, go for that possibility which gets the least position to the carbon attached to functional group. So moving forward, if you take in this direction, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, up to here is common. I proceed in this direction, it will be 5, it will be 6. So moving in this direction, you'll get 6 carbons. Moving in this direction also, we are getting 6 carbons. So there are both are same. But in this direction, no functional group. In this direction, functional group. So which should not be considered is which has no functional group. Which should be considered is which has functional group. So the numbering, this is eliminated, this is eliminated. So this numbering is removed. Now this is the correct numbering. Second, in the numbering, the functional group attached carbon. Now the carbon chain selection is correct. Parent chain is selected. Parent chain consists of 6 carbons. This is okay. But functional group attached carbon numbering is how much? If I go with this side of numbering, I'll get 6. Numbering will be given 6. In another way, if I go, start numbering in this direction, moving from the carbon or attached to the functional group, 1, and moving towards this side, then you will have 1 numbering. So there are 2 possibilities. Moving in this direction, you'll get 6 numbering to the carbon attached to functional group. Moving from right to left, you will get numbering 1 to the functional group attached to carbon. So what is the rule 2 says? Your functional group attached carbon should be least numbered. It should be least numbered. This is going to be the logic which we are going to follow. So this is wrong and this is correct. So the right numbering is this, where your ol should be given 1 numbering. 3 ethyl hexanol is your correct naming of the compound. So this is your numbering of the parent chain that will be coming as your first priority or the most important condition for the numbering of the carbon chain. So always keep this in mind. First, what is the rule number 1 says? Select the parent chain, the longest carbon possible, including the functional group, not excluding the functional group. So functional group containing longest carbon chain possible. That is rule number 1. Second, after selecting the functional group containing longest chain, numbering should be given from the direction where functional group attached carbon will be least position. So the numbering should be less. That is our second priority. Moving with this priority, if I am going, now how do we name the suffixes? Choosing the suffix. If I am taking the rule number 3, what is rule number 3 says? The last E in ANE or ENE or YNE, in all these you have E indicating carbon-carbon single bond, carbon-carbon double bond, carbon-carbon triple bond. The letter E of the primary suffix is dropped when it is followed by secondary suffix with vowel letters like A, I, O, U and exceptional Y. So when you have these 5 letters following your N, in, ein, your E will be followed by these. If you say plus, if you have any of these A, I, O, U, Y, any of this comes, we are going to remove this E from the letters of primary suffix. So N becomes N, En becomes N, Ein becomes Ein. So if you take this particular one, so whenever you have something like pentane, in the previous example you have pentane plus 1 ol. This is what you have. So since O is followed by the letter E, E will be cancelled. It will be written as pentanol. Pentanol. That is the most important point to be remembered in this particular one. The number of position of functional group is inserted in the name. Your number of position has to be written before the name of the functional group, not in the beginning or at the end of the name of the compound. So inside only it should be. So that is one of the IUPAC nomenclatures. The rules of IUPAC are given with the certainty what you have to follow it, you have to follow. So what are the basic points we have to follow? If you have a number followed by a number, separate the numbers by comma. If you have a number followed by a word, separate it by a hyphen. If you have the substituents repeated 2 times, 3 times, we are going to use the numerical prefixes di, tri, etc. When you have two different names of the substituents, we are not going to name them randomly whatever we wanted. We have to name the substituents in the order of their alphabetical order of the first letter with which they start. So the name starts with which letter? You see that alphabetical order it has to be. So ethyl comes before methyl, methyl comes before propyl. So like that, if you take alphabetical order has to be followed in naming the substituents. Second, naming the functional groups. The first rule we have to follow, select the longest carbon chain where you have the carbon chain included with functional group. That is going to be our rule number 1. Rule number 2 will be the longest carbon chain should be numbered from the side where you have the functional group attached carbon with least position. Rule number 3, whenever you have letters like A, I, O, U, Y followed by primary suffix A, N, E, E, N, E or Y, N, E, E will be dropped from the primary suffix in the attachment to the letters followed by is A, I, O, U, Y. So this is our rules. 3 rules we have seen, and choosing the suffix when you are taking this particular compounds. So now we have to give the structure to this particular compound. Let us understand this way. Before I have given you all question marks. Now let us take this particular one, empty space. Now in this we have to fill this particular one. The compound should be given the name as hept2-one. So how do we get this heptane-2-one in this particular one? First we will be writing this one. One is a functional group C double bond O. Let us take, this is attached both sides with carbon chain. So this is the functional group naming for one. And this should be at the second position of the carbon chain. So 1, 2, 3, so on goes off. So your numbering 1 starts from this side, 2, and this is going to be 3, and this go on. To understand this way. Now hept means how many carbons? It should be 7 carbons. I have to arrange 7 carbons. And AN is a word which indicates all the carbon atoms attachments are CC, carbon single bond carbon attachments. So what we are going to do now, I am going to write the carbons 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm going to give the numbering in this way. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 carbons I have given. Now what we are saying, all carbons are single bonds, taken care. 7 carbons in the chain, numbers also taken care. The C double bond O is at second position. So C double bond O is going to be here. C double bond O. Now what is the formula? How to frame the formula? Remember, carbon should always have 4 valencies. If one valency is filled, the remaining valency should be filled with hydrogens. That is how you should think. 4 valencies, how many are already been filled? Leave of them. Remaining unfilled valencies should be filled with hydrogen. You can see here 1 valency is filled, remaining 3 are vacant, CH3. 2 valencies are filled, so it is CH2. 2 valencies are filled, so CH2. 2 valencies are filled, so CH2. 2 valencies are filled, so CH2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 valencies are filled here, no hydrogen. Here again CH3. So the compound is given by CH3, CH2, 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 CO, CH3, hept2-one. I hope you are very easy concept. Everyone knows how to do this now. It is very easy. Now let us deal with this particular one. OL indicates OH functional group. This is at which carbon? This is attached to the carbon which should be a second carbon. Pent means how many carbons? 5 carbons. 5 carbons. N indicates all carbon-carbon single bonds. So you have carbon-carbon single bonds. Let us go with 5 carbons now here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 carbons I have written. And now at second position, this is going to be OH. If I write second position OH, now all the hydrogens has to be balanced. 1, so CH3. 1 and 2, so 2 hydrogens. 2 balance, so 2 hydrogens. 1, 2, 3, so only 1 hydrogen. Only 1 is there, so 3 hydrogens. So this is going to be a formula of pentane 2-ol. Very easy concept. You can rock the show. Just organic chem is very fun game. You need to understand the conventions, IUPAC rules properly, then you can play with the compounds. That's the surety I can give you. Now last point we need to know, if you have polyfunctional groups, in that case the prefixes for secondary functional groups and other substituents should be placed in alphabetical order. However, if two groups of same preferences occupy identical positions from either ends, that means if I am naming from left to right, if I am naming from right to left, I am getting the same numbering for the substituents. In that case, the lower number must be given to the group whose prefix comes first in alphabetical order. So this is going to be very crucial. Let us understand this way. I'll take one example for our understanding. If I take an example like this, if you have bromine over here, if you have chlorine over here, if I give you this numbering, let us take this is CH2, 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 CH2. So this is the carbon chain. How do you name this particular carbon chain? This is very important for us. How do we name this carbon chain? Now you see, if I give numbering in this direction, this is 1. If I give numbering in this direction, this is 1. So chlorine is at first position if I number from this side. Bromine is at first position if I number from this side. If you are adding the sum of the substituents also, you'll get the same. So locants are the substituents, are the functional groups, everything, anything you take, they are at the same position from both the ends. In this case, the name of bromine is taken as bromo, name of chlorine is taken as chloro. In chloro it starts with C, in bromo it starts with B. Alphabetical order, B comes first, then C. So B should be given priority, not C. So the numbering should start only from left to right, not from right to left. So the number continues 3, 4, and this becomes 5. So if it takes 5, it is 1 bromo, comma, it is 5 chloro. You have 5 carbons, so pent. You have all carbon single bond, so ane, pentane. So this is how the naming of the compound can be taken. This is what the beauty of this organic chemistry. You can name any compound, anything, if you know the particular rule and what word has to be used, you can answer anything very easily. So this is the lecture for us today. Moving to our homework questions, we have 2 questions over here. I have given you the numbering also. Just you need to do is, what is the name of those compounds? Just give the names with the data what we have discussed in today's class. I hope everyone is clear with the concepts explained over here. Thank you. And this is our last session and the last class for our program, bridge course program. So I hope everyone have understood the concepts clearly. Thank you for supporting all of us and making this program a huge success. Thank you, one and all. Take care, stay safe, and all the best for your future examinations. Loving you all. This is the last word I can say. Thank you. Thank you.